Mackenzie,
Lemar.
we're wrapping up August with Talladega Nights, one that we are both very excited for.
Yeah, super excited.
And I think I said this last week. I explained that this was from a time period where it's not that I didn't like Will Ferrell, but I was a little fatigued. Felt like he put out 18 movies in a 3-year span. And
Yeah.
this was one that slipped through the cracks, and I had heard it quoted a million times. So it felt like, I want to give it a chance. And that's what we're going to do here today. We're going to try. But a lot of other people that I've spoken to can't stand Will Ferrell. Like, even nowadays, it just seems like he was the king of comedy for a few years, and people were
Yeah.
just sick of him or didn't like his style of humor, and they still, to this day, do not enjoy him. Are you a Will Ferrell person?
I like him, but I'm not obsessed with him. And it's funny that you're saying that's your experience, because I feel like I was always the weird person who wasn't like obsessed with him and thought he was so hysterical. I wasn't obsessed with Anchorman. I wasn't obsessed with him in Elf and all the things. Like, Elf took a long time for me to even get into. So
Same.
yeah, it's interesting that you had that experience, because I thought everyone else liked him and I was the weirdo.
I'm not saying it's the most common response to it, but I feel like he's one of those polarizing actors. So that in mind, is there
middle of the road?
Yeah, I'm like, it depends on the role, but there was a period where I was just like, okay, dude, I'm gonna take a couple years off here. But we're circling around now. But are there any actors nowadays or actresses where, I don't want to say that you'll never see anything they're in, because that sounds hurtful, but is there anybody that kind of puts you off a movie when you see a trailer and you're just like, hey dude, you gotta earn my love in this one, because it's going to be hard to get me to see this or turn around on this film if you don't do a good job?
Yeah, so I have like rational and irrational ones, I think would be my response there. Right. So, because how like some people, like to your point, there are some people like they see something the actor and like, I'm not fucking watching that. I hate that actor. And I don't think I have any of those that are just like, I will absolutely not. But I do have people that I sort of irrationally dislike for no specific reason, but I'll still watch their stuff because I'm like, I know that they're maybe going to be good at this, One that comes to mind is Michael Shannon. And I think I've said that before on the pod. I know.
Mind blowing.
He's one not said that. I guess I haven't said
Hollywood.
That. But that's what I'm saying. I think he's a good actor, but he's somebody that, like, in some cases, the roles he was so good at being, awful that I like kind of hated him. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
It's like Zod came to Earth, right? And blew up all those buildings.
Exactly. In Man of Steel, I'm like, he is so good at being the fucking worst. I hate him right now. And then he did like a few other like indie films where he's like kind of problematic and he's good and bad. Like he did like Take Shelter and a couple other things that I was just like, the acting is good, but I don't like his characters sometimes, and he gets kind of typecasted as these unlikable people. And so he's also had good ones. He's also had good ones.
Eminem's stepdad in 8 Mile. So, or like not stepdad, but his mom's boyfriend.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. Like, he's not, you don't like him in the movie. So he's one of those where I'm like, ugh, this guy again. But he also in Shape of Water is another really good example of like his character, and that grosses me the fuck out. He's a creep. And so I just don't like him. Another one is, this has just been in practice. You have experienced with me if Adam Sandler's in it, I'm like, ugh.
Nowadays, I basically discount anything that has to do with that whole circle, whether it's Adam Sandler, Rob Schneider, David Spade, like that whole circle of friends that all make Kevin James make movies together. Yeah. I assume that is just not good. Not that I don't like them, but the movies they make are not my brand of humor.
They're not my brand either. Yeah, I just don't find that stupid humor funny. Like, I don't, I thought Billy Madison was funny when I was in 7th grade. Yep. You know what I mean? I don't think it's funny anymore. Sorry. Come for me, I guess. And I think the very last one is one that I'm sad about, because I think he was a great actor, but he's a problematic person, and I can't watch anything with Mel Gibson in it anymore. And
that makes sense.
I thought he was such a, like, if you saw Mel Gibson in The Patriot, for example, you're like, oh my God, like gut-wrenching, incredible performance. And I'm like, you ruined it. I can't watch you anymore. It's terrible. So I don't know. Yeah, they're all for different reasons, but yeah. What about you?
I struggle with this too, which is why I kind of rephrased the question, because none of these are people where I hate them and I don't want to watch anything they're in, or I think they're shitty actors on the whole. But when I see these two specifically, I do have to kind of think through or hear good word of mouth that'll get me to watch it. To the point of Adam Sandler, I didn't have any interest in seeing Uncut Gems, and then I heard it was great, and I watched it, and it was great, but it's so different from anything else he's done recently.
It was great, but it was so fucking stressful. That is one of the most stressful movies I've ever watched.
Yeah. So for mine, the first one, which is the one that I'm less sure about because I think it's kind of low-hanging fruit and she gets a lot of shit, but there was a period where like Kristen Stewart in movies just had the same facial expression through the entirety of the film in a lot of cases, but she was also being asked to play these very reserved and like quiet badass chicks, so I get that. But I really loved Underwater with her. She won me over in that, which is a pretty good horror movie. I was gonna say she's
expounded quite a bit. She's
getting much better. She was in Love Lies Bleeding. I really liked that, so she's winning me over, but it did take those two movies really to turn me around on her.
Well, and I think Twilight is where she gets the most crap, to be honest, because people are like, God, you're so annoying in this. The one bit of credit I will give her is that's Bella. Like, that's if you read the books, like, she actually is playing it right. I mean, I don't have them anymore because they're kind of terrible, but I definitely read them when they came out, and she's playing the character like pretty on the nose. It's really the characters and the writing that are really the problem there. And then she got, to your point, typecasted and kind of like did those same kind of characters a little bit. But I agree. I think she's really grown.
I mean, for the record, my assessment was not based on Twilight because I've never seen the movies. I'm a book purist. I read every book but I never saw the movies. But no, I actually never saw them. So I was basing that on the other 3 or 4 movies she had, like Adventureland and things like that, where she was just this brooding teenager kind of thing. But
she did a Diana, she did, like, or not Diana, Spencer. They call it Spencer.
Okay.
Totally different in that. Okay. Like, Clouds of Still Maria, Still Alice. She's way better now.
I'm going to have to do a little more exploring. The next one, which I am more certain of, and again, some roles I like him in. Others, he just gets on my fucking nerves, and that's Jack Black, surprisingly.
That's kind of rough because I agree. I see exactly what you're saying.
He's very likable. In real life, he seems like a very good, cool, chill dude, good human being. But it's just the roles that he's given and the stuff that he chooses to do. In many cases, it's very repetitive, and it's like, we get it. You're like a larger dude, and you're agile, and you like yell, and it's. That's not to say that Jack Black isn't in some of my favorite movies, but when I see him in a thing as like the lead role, I immediately am just like, I'm gonna need to hear some feedback before I go see this.
What's the one? I never saw it, but it was like Nacho Libre, like was like that for me. I saw that preview and I was like,
Nacho Libre, I've never seen it. I know people that love them, kind of like this one that we're doing today. Yeah,
but that's one of the ones that I never saw because of exactly what you're saying. Yep. I'm like, I don't need to watch this. Like, he's fine. He's playing the same whatever version. But I loved School of Rock, for example, and and he was really cute. I like the Kung Fu Pandas have gone on for forever, and I feel like it could stop. But the first one was cute. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I totally hear you. Same thing. Totally.
Yeah, but yeah, again, all apologies to Jack Black. I really liked him in both Jumanji movies. He showed some versatility there and playing like different.
I didn't see the second one. I saw. Is the second one hold up? Does it hold up?
The second one's pretty good. I mean, it's not like as good as the first, but it's fun to see them portray like being the avatars of other people outside. I won't spoil who is who, but it actually is a lot of fun the first time through. I don't know that I would rewatch it.
Okay. I liked the first one, and I didn't expect to because I was kind of a Jumanji purist, and I was like, I don't want to watch it, and then I watched it, and it was good. So good to know. Good to know. All right, I guess let's do this, huh?
Talladega Nights.
Talladega Nights. Welcome back to We Drink and We Watch Things. I'm Mackenzie.
Steak lover.
Steak lover.
I'm Lemar. I don't know where my bike helmet is.
Okay. I just had to bring... So, for those who can't see, I'm wearing a hat that says steak lover. And I was trying to find things that felt right for this movie, which I don't have a lot of things, spoiler alert, in my closet. Costume changes that... felt Talladega Nightsy, but they are a steak crowd, and there's a whole scene around steak. So I weirdly have this hat, and I did not buy it.
I like the effort that you go through to make the like 10% of our viewership that's actually watching this versus the 90% that's pissed off right now that we're describing this.
Yeah.
Guys, for the record, if you can't see me, I put on my glasses between episodes as always. So you're welcome.
Yeah, he's a whole different person.
Movie
now.
Magic. Yeah.
It just felt fitting. This is a sirloin stockade hat. Do you know what Sirloin Stockade is?
Is it a steak place? I can guess.
Do you know? Okay. Do you know what like Golden Corral?
Yes.
It's like a super Texan Golden Corral.
I thought Golden Corral was a super Texan Golden Corral. No?
But it's like extra. I actually don't know where Golden Corral was founded, to be honest. But this is like the Texan edition. Okay. It's very intense. There's literally a giant cow outside of this establishment on the sign.
So this is a buffet.
It's a buffet.
Is the steak good at the buffet?
I could not tell you. I do not remember. I have amnesia about this.
I don't know. I used to go a buffet for steak.
Right. I don't know why we did this. We were poor is what it was. And so that's probably why. But we definitely went there when I was a kid. And I remember I would aggressively ask my mom, can we go to Sirloin Stockade? I want to go to Sirloin Stockade. It would be like every Sunday we would go to Sirloin Stockade after church. Not literally, but I tried every Sunday to get her to let us go. And for some reason that really stuck in my mom's brain. And she bought me the Sirloin Stockade hat. So this is the only occasion I have to wear it. Is the situation that we're in.
It's not going to be a starting member of your rotation going out on the
No,
weekends.
It's not. In fact, I'm going to take it off. I just wanted you to see it, that I have this hat. It's kind of absurd, but here we are. Hi, Mom. I hope you heard this. Welcome to our episode on Talladega Nights, Sirloin Stockade edition, sponsored by Sirloin Stockade, or at least we hope so. What are we drinking, though, to get through this one?
So we are drinking, as always, a cocktail designed by @CraftWorld minus the vowels. This one's interesting. I'm curious to get your take on how this goes down, because it's 1.5 ounces of mezcal, 1/2 ounce of Saint Germain, 0.75 ounces of lime, and 1/2 ounce of strawberry puree. And then he had to salt the rim and smoke the sucker, because we're calling it the shake and bake, because you shake it, strain it, and then you bake it with the smoke. It makes total sense. But let's cheers to this, and then I'm curious your reaction on the taste. So cheers.
Okay, cheers. It's a wild ride, man.
There's a lot going on in there. Not in a bad way, but there is a lot going on.
I thought you would like it, though. Do you like it?
I do. I like smoky stuff. So I don't mind mezcal, and the double smoking is pretty good. And I'm a big Saint Germain guy, so it's a combination I wouldn't have thought to make.
100%. Like, I like all the things individually, but I would not have put them together. Absolutely. And when I went to read the recipe, because I didn't read it before, and when I went to read the recipe and make it, I was like, the fuck am I doing right now? Like, to your point, the salt rim and the smoke and the whatever. But I don't know. I think it works. I also really like Saint Germain, so I think it
suits the movie. I think it's like kind of a mess, but still pretty okay. Like, yeah, sure, I'll drink this. I don't know that I'm never going to drink it again, but I'll drink it. Yeah.
That's our review of Talladega Nights. Yep. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time. No, just kidding. All right. Well, it's a good one. Let's get into it. Some basics, some spoiler alerts, I guess. Although I feel like if you wanted to see this movie, you've probably seen it by now. Which tells me that you did not want to see this movie, as we've covered. But yeah, this is 2006. Talladega Nights, Ballad of Ricky Bobby.
Almost
it's an absurdly long name.
Bonkers.
That hurts my soul for you to say that.
Will Ferrell movie that came out 20 years ago. Wow.
I don't think that was necessary, to be honest. But yeah, almost 20 years ago. 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb, which is actually higher than I expected, I guess. Rotten Tomatoes, 72% of critics and 73% of audiences. So decent showing, I guess. Decent showing.
I mean, if I were going thumbs up or I would probably go thumbs up on my Rotten Tomatoes. Just like, it was worth watching once, but I wouldn't rate it very high.
That still fucks with my head. I just can't with that rating system.
Yeah. I wish I remember what episode that was on, so I could reference people to go back and listen to that, of you not you coming to terms with the fact that Rotten Tomatoes.
It was a baseball app, because I had a hat on and pigtails. I don't know why I know that, but I definitely know that. Yeah. And it's still it still fucks me up every time. Every time we talk about it, I have to pause a little bit. I don't know. I don't understand that, but I think I would also do I think I would do a thumbs up, actually. You know what maybe would have sold me on the thumbs up was actually this watch. We'll get into it. But if you had asked me before I watched this, I would have said thumbs down. Don't fucking bother.
Fair.
The rewatch, I noticed some stuff I hadn't, I guess, noticed in a while. So I don't know. I guess there's something. All right. Director, Adam McKay. We've talked about this fella before. Done a few things. Don't Look Up is one of his more recent things that I still haven't seen. Have you watched it yet? We've talked about this before.
And I don't mean to like commandeer this, but this guy's like, I almost said discography. His films from like start to finish.
Discography.
I want to walk you through this really quick. He does Anchorman, Breakout, right? He does this and Step Brothers and The Other Guys, all pretty well-regarded comedy films. Then at some point, he makes the mistake of making Anchorman 2, which was fucking horrible and unnecessary and just a huge waste of time, which I would not give a Rotten Tomatoes thumbs up to. After that, I think that was his coming to Jesus moment, because then, like you said, he does Don't Look Up, he does The Big Short, and he does Vice. All three Best Picture nominees. So, like, thank God for Anchorman 2, I guess, because now he's, like, turned it around into this incredible career.
I have questions. Like, has anybody, when people interview directors, it's always about the movie that they're making now. Like, can we have an interview with Adam McKay right now and be like, the fuck happened? I have some what was it? Anchorman 2 and the like utter garbage and the response to that was like, you were like, I better get my shit together.
That was like his intervention. Yeah.
Right. Did you take a class? I don't know. What did you do? What happened? I want the backstory of how you then made these incredible movies, because Vice is so fucking good. And so is The Big Short. Really good films. And actually he did Succession, which is one of the best like hit
I think
TV
he only
series.
did one episode or two episodes.
Yeah, he directed it, but I think he was a producer on parts of it. And so, but then he directed a couple, I think 1 or 2 episodes. But yes, I just mean like he's involved in good production after that. So
you should see Don't Look Up, by the way. I know you originally asked that.
Should I?
It's kind of depressing how real it is to modern day America.
That's the thing that like kind of deterred me.
Because they wrote it before COVID even happened, but it came out during the COVID pandemic, and you're just like, this is exactly what this is describing. It turns out it was just completely unrelated, but it parallels it perfectly of just the ignorance in America and different ways of thinking. But it's like a dark comedy, it's satirical, and it's funny, but it's also very depressing.
Yeah, because it's too fucking real these days. Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. I do want to watch it, but life is hard right now, so maybe later. He also wrote this, and he's written a couple other things, including Don't Look Up. He also wrote Ant-Man, but wasn't involved for very long. And actually, when he like wrapped up writing that, he then came into doing this film, which is, again, feels like a hard left or right turn, whatever.
18 writers on Ant-Man. Yeah, Edgar Wright, who we talked about last week, was one of the writers on Ant-Man.
I know. Yeah. So weird. And then he wrote Vice as well, which is, again, one of the better ones. And then Will Ferrell, of course, contributes to the writing here. He wrote, if you didn't know, Step Brothers. And then, of course, a lot of TV, a lot of SNL writing, and then Anchorman. Did he write Anchorman too?
I don't know. I wonder if that's why it's
bad.
Credit in there. Yeah, it seems like the two of them and John C. Reilly seem to be besties. They do not just a bunch of films together, but they did like shorts on Funny or Die and like all these comedy websites. So I think the three of them are just besties. So I wouldn't be surprised.
They just want to hang out,
credits,
write some
those.
shit. Yeah. Well, speaking of major cast and crew, Will Ferrell, obviously, we said, plays Ricky Bobby, Anchorman, Blades of Glory. One of the ones I want to call out, and I don't know, I feel like we've talked about Will Ferrell before, and maybe I mentioned this, but he was recently on Netflix in a documentary, Will and Harper. Have you seen that? Do you know what that's about?
I didn't know it was a documentary. It popped up in my feed, but
I would say it's like a documentary memoir type of thing. Okay. It is about, obviously, Will Ferrell, but his good friend Harper Steele, who transitioned from a man to a woman, and them kind of coming together after the transition and going on a road trip together across the country and back, and them going through lots of cities, including some in Texas that showed up exactly how you would think they would in reacting to this transition. And it's like really, it's very poignant. It's a poignant film.
Interesting.
It's beautifully done. It's a really good story about their friendship, and like, not that you would at all think that Will Ferrell's a transphobic person at all, and he's not, but like, how does that change your relationship with your best friend who you knew this very different way for decades of your career? They worked together on SNL for forever. They've done a bunch of films together. So it was a really interesting lens. So I would, if you haven't seen it, I would definitely watch it.
We'll give it a shot. It's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. John C. Reilly, as you said, plays Cal Naughton Jr., his right-hand man. He's the bake, right? Who's the shake and who's the bake? Shake and bake?
I don't know if they ever clarify, even though they say it 86
They don't clarify, but like,
what's
your read?
I would imagine that John C. Reilly is the shake and Will Ferrell is the bake. Okay. He's the one that always wins. And he always goes second. Like he goes up, through the, what do they call it? Slingshot, hot shotting it.
Yep. Okay. That checks out. All right. So he's done Chicago, Mr. Cellophane, if you haven't seen it, and Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox Story, which is like a parody of Johnny Cash, Walk the Line, all the things. I never saw it.
It's good. It's a fun little, it's basically just a music biopic parody. Like all these music not just Walk the Line, but like any music biopic that you see. Like it's pretty much a parody of all those, but it is pretty funny.
Okay. Well, I like biopics, and I don't know if I want to watch somebody make fun of them. I'm just saying. We'll see. Maybe.
We also saw him live. He came to Austin and did a thing at the Paramount like 6 months ago. It was kind of a one-man show. I mean, he had a live band, but he sang because we know he can sing. He was in Chicago, and it was a bunch of musical performances, but it also interwove.
Was he good?
Very good. And it also wove in like a bunch of, it was like classic songs from like the 30s and 40s, like classic.
Wow.
But he wove in like comedy bits, and there was sort of a storyline to the whole show. So he was kind of doing stand-up comedy and crowd work and improv. Yeah, it was worth it. We weren't allowed to like take photos or videos because I think he's protective of the performance. But if you ever get a chance to see, it's called Mr. Romantic. It's really, really funny live. Yeah.
That I saw that was coming through, and I can't remember why, but it didn't work out or whatever. And I was very curious about it because even in Chicago, like he sings ish, he sort of sings. Mm-hmm. You don't hear him sing like really heavy duty. So that's cool. That sounds like it was a really cool show. I'm glad you got to see that.
Yeah.
Sacha Baron Cohen, who plays Jean Giraud, the most French man to ever French.
I was going to say, we talked about F1 a couple weeks ago, and I love when he first says, "C'est pas Formula 1."
Formula 1. Oh my God. Ferrell. And he's done, I know what people know him for, Borat, Bruno, whatever. I also thought I would call out that he did the Trial of the Chicago 7. It's a very different turn for him, and he was good at it. Yeah, exactly. So
I also didn't realize this was 3 months before Borat came out. I assumed he got this role after blowing up with Borat, but this was...
Well, so would I. That's interesting.
This was August, I think, and then Borat was November.
I had no idea. Okay. Well, he definitely he gives similar vibes, not at all the same person, but similar vibes. But Trial of Chicago 7 is very different, but he does a great job in that too. Gary Cole plays Reese Bobby, Ricky Bobby's dad. Obviously most well known, I think, from Office Space. So I'm going to need you to work on Saturday. That's the
Lundberg.
That's the guy. Lundberg. Yeah. Also Dodgeball, and then like a fuck ton of TV. Like I was just like looking through his IMDb, and I was like, okay, so he's been on everything. He has 209 actor credits. If you were curious,
I guess you would qualify him as a character actor, right? Like he's not typically the lead. He's always sort of like fifth build in a film, but he's always really good.
But he's one of those that, like, I think it makes sense that he's in a ton of TV, because when I think of him, I'm like, well, feels like he's been in a lot, and I can name one thing, you know what I mean, that he's been in. So yeah, I think he's definitely a character actor who's been plugged into a lot of things. We also have Michael Clark Duncan, who plays Lucius, who is the head of his pit crew. He's probably most well known for The Green Mile, which is hard. Like I just, that's like a once every 5 to 10 years that I can watch that thing. That's like, heavy. And Sin City, obviously known for that one, but I
thought he was in that smaller part in that, but
smaller part, but he's like
the guy with like the golden eye.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of memorable, but yeah, it's not a big part. But I feel like there's a lot of that in Sin City. That's like kind of the Sin City move. There's like a couple ones that are in it a lot, and then a lot of cameos.
Yes.
Leslie Bibb, who plays Carly Bobby, the wife. She is most recently known for her turn in White Lotus, the most recent season of White Lotus. She plays a woman who is in theory from Austin. By the way, she's not from Austin. She is an LA-er who moved to Austin. It's a whole different vibe. Whatever. Anyway, she just recently...
Isn't that all of Austin, though?
fuck all the way off. You know, we're not going there. Actually, unfortunately, yes, it is. That's why I'm so traumatized. But Iron Man also. I don't know if you remember. It took me a minute
she
to
was
remember
like a
who she was.
reporter in that, right?
Yes,
She's not in that
she
many
was
scenes.
She's not, but she's in 2. She comes for Iron Man in Iron Man 2 as well. So like they keep her around, but she's definitely like a reporter character. But I remember her from in my formative years. She was in like a one-off TV series that I think it was literally one season, but my sister and we didn't agree on a lot of things at that age. But my sister and I watched together, and it was called Popular, which is the most 90s, early 2000s probably TV show title you've ever heard of.
It's not hitting with me, but I know that there are some listeners in our audience where you just activated a core memory for them.
I can't remember hardly any of it, but it is also a core memory. And I remember her being awful. Like she was the worst in that. She was like, no, I don't mean in acting. I mean, her character is terrible. Her character is awful. Like she's that prototypical, like popular girl asshole. Like that's that show.
I knew that I recognized her from something. I couldn't place it until I looked at her IMDb, and she plays the mom in this horror comedy that came out, I don't know, 5 years ago called The Babysitter with Samara Weaving. Surprisingly
you talked
good.
About that, but I still haven't seen it.
Low expectations going in, but it was really good. Again, she has like an Iron Man sized part. She's only in certain pieces of the movie, but yeah, good movie.
Cool. We also have Jane Lynch, who I know has done a few things, but is probably most well known for Glee, for being like the cheerleading coach in Glee. She plays Lucy Bobby, the mom. She also did Wreck-It Ralph, her voice, which I actually think is very distinctive. Like I could tell when I watched it that it was her, but I don't know if everybody can tell that. But she's probably most well known for her role in Glee, which is kind of psychotic.
Yeah, she's funny in Role Models too, and kind of playing a combination of those 3 characters you just named in that. So
yeah, that checks out. She's got a vibe to her. And then I wanted to close it out with Amy Adams, who plays Susan, sweetheart, long suffering fans, then eventual love interest. She was in Vice, so again, checks out that she was here and also there later. She also did one of my favorites that we still haven't done, but we gotta like find a time to do on the pod is Arrival. I think it's like she's so good in that. And that's such a good movie. And then she's like fun one, Enchanted. The Fighter. I just think she's one of those. She can just play anything. She's so good. So good.
She's got a few Oscar noms under her belt too. So
yeah, she needs to win one, man. She's earned it. She's earned one. But you know what's not going to earn her one? Have you seen that she's in a recent movie called Night Bitch?
I saw that she was in that, but I haven't. Isn't it like a horror movie? Isn't it kind of like she's a werewolf or something like that? Like
she turns into into like a dog overnight, and it's like she's. Instead of, like think about like women who are aging into menopause or whatever, instead of that, she's aging into at night, she turns into a dog.
I have not those kind of that's elevated horror. It's a like
is it elevated horror
for a real life issue?
I don't know if that's what I don't know if it's successfully. I don't know. The trailers absolutely put me off. I did not see it. I have not seen it. Tell us if you've seen it.
It feels more up my alley, so I will. Yeah, I'll go.
How about you recon on it and you let me know because it looked so bad, but yeah, if it's good, let me know. Okay, quick plot summary, and we are looking at number 1. NASCAR driver Ricky Bobby stays atop the heap thanks to a pact with his best friend and teammate Carl Naughton Jr. But when a French Formula One driver makes his way up the ladder, Ricky Bobby's talent and devotion are put to the test. Dun, dun.
Yeah, that is what happens. Can we just point out right away that this plot, we mentioned him once on this episode. This is an Adam Sandler movie. This is just 10 years after Adam Sandler was popular, but it's the same formula of just this weird situation and like the character. It just beat for beat is an Adam Sandler movie in my opinion, and that's part of the reason why I don't really love it is because like you can kind of tune out for the entire middle part of the movie and you know exactly where everything's going.
Oh, bless. Okay, took the words out of my mouth. Yes. Agree. Hard agree. This did, however, make a decent amount of money, despite the fact that it's just, in my opinion, and it sounds like yours, meh. It was $72.5 million budget, which is fucking wildly high. Can we just talk, relatively speaking, to The Baby Driver, which was produced later that we just did last week? That was a $34 million budget, had some really cool like action sequences, also driving related. So I'm just saying, has this solid budget of $34 million. This is double that, and this is what we got. It's double that years and years earlier also, so I need people to account for inflation there. Anyways, it made $164 million at the box office almost.
They did okay.
It did all right. I'm confused.
I'm sure they made a bunch of that money back through sponsorships too, because as we talked about,
oh my god, the sponsorships.
Yeah, sponsorships, and they do kind of make it funny in this. They poke fun at the sponsorships, but
I think it's funny that the biggest one is Wonder Bread. Like, do people buy one? Is Wonder Bread? No, really. Like, is Wonder Bread still around? Not.
Yeah, it has.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like Heinz. Like, that's just one of those.
I just think of Wonder Bread as like a 1950s housewife is buying Wonder Bread. You know what I mean? Like, that's the vision I have in my head for Wonder Bread. So I was like, is this still a thing? I'm so confused. Anyways, okay. Well, turn around, don't drown. If you haven't seen this, it's spoiler time. Let's get into it.
I know we are just going to jump around like crazy today.
Yeah, because this is.
Can we just talk about how John C. Reilly might be the most likable man in Hollywood, if not the world? Because if not for him in this, I would not want to watch this film. But he kind of makes the movie in some ways.
Okay, but let's dig into that though, because he does do a shitty thing. Like, what I think the reason he not gets away with it, but the reason that he doesn't hurt as bad is you've seen him being wronged throughout the first part of the movie of him being like rejected and mistreated or whatever. But like, objectively, taking your best friend's job and wife and all the things and moving him out in the span of 24 hours or whatever the fuck it is like not great. It's not an appealing character trait, I would say.
No, the character for sure is a moron. But like the what he lends to this movie as an actor and just embracing the silliness, because I wrote down at some point in this, like, it's always a little of these two things, but at some point it flips a switch where now everything in the movie is either complete absurdity, like absurd comedy, or it's slapstick comedy. And the slapstick does not land for me at all. Though, like, he's running around in his underwear. That's hilarious.
That does not land
those things are so fucking stupid. But the absurd stuff
Why does Will Ferrell always have to get into his underwear?
Probably because he thinks because he has like an awkward body with like weird chest hair that it's going to be funny every single time, and it's not. I feel like it was funny in Old School, and that's it. Like, we don't need to run that.
But he did it on SNL, and he's doing it here, and you know what I mean? I'm just like, I don't understand why this is like fart humor to me, and like I don't think it's funny, and it gets old, and the fact that it happens repeatedly, I hard agree.
I mean, I guess you can't, like, it's similar to what we were talking about. You can't fault people like Jack Black or even like Kevin Hart or Adam Sandler for, it's like, if people are going to pay to see this over and over again, I'm going to collect a paycheck. I can phone it in. So I get it. But the absurd comedy in this does kind of hit for the most part for me. And part of that is when he moves his friend out, takes his wife, and then doesn't understand why it's such a big deal and thinks they're still friends.
Oh yeah, no, it's funny. It hits. I agree with you. The humor part of it hits, but just the like being a good person part, not so much. But yes, it does hit. I think it's funny, like how quickly it is, how it moves so quickly, and like the progression of her as well. That you just like, she's like such a groupie in the stands, and you know, flashing him or whatever, and like she's there for one thing and one thing only. And her, you know, funny line later is very like, I'm a NASCAR wife, you know, like I'm a racing wife, like I don't work. And it's such a trope, and it's so well done by her. And so she just sees this opportunity, and she's very strategic about it, of like, this isn't going the way that it should, and I'm going to go with this guy. And it's so fucking cutthroat and terrible. But the thing that made it interesting to me is I was reading later about how they got NASCAR involved. And they were like, well, we had to get the cooperation of NASCAR to do this. And we knew we needed to like really have some real track footage and all the things. Like, they took a similar approach to F1 in that way. But they had to convince them that they weren't making fun of the sport. They're like, listen, we don't want to make fun of NASCAR. We want to have fun with NASCAR. And I don't know about you, but my takeaway, especially with her and like their characters, I'm like, you making fun of NASCAR. Right? Are we making fun of NASCAR? It feels like we're making fun of it.
At the very least, it's making fun of these, I mean, 3 of the top drivers in the quote unquote sport, and they're, dynamic. I think she does great in this. She's not really a villain, but it's like, I don't even remember, this might be before, you know, the Real Housewives series kicked off. So that's the vibes I get from her, is like,
I don't know,
Real Housewives of NASCAR. Yeah.
Yep. That feels like the vibe. I feel like it is before. Maybe it inspired it, to be honest. But she does it really well. She plays it really well. He does play like like you said, he's likable because he has been the, you know, the one taking one for the team throughout,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and you do feel for him. He's like, can I win one? Like, can I win one? And like you get, you know, he wouldn't be able to win. Ricky wouldn't be able to win without him. And he's just like, no, I'm a winner. I'm a winner. And he's
like, yeah,
relying
you're
on
right. That was a bad idea.
that was a bad idea. And he just moves on.
He even saves, like, honestly, the one underwear scene that's so fucking stupid when when Will Ferrell's running around and saying, like, save me, God, save me, all this stuff. First off, I never understood that the Tom Cruise thing was a Days of Thunder reference, because I saw it in the trailers, but I didn't see Days of Thunder until a few years ago. And I'm like, oh, that's why. I thought it was just Tom Cruise is a funny celebrity at the moment. It was like around the time he was jumping on Oprah's couch. But John C. Reilly saves that scene because it's not funny, but then when he runs in and is like, please,
he's like, don't let the invisible fire get my friend.
When he does that and like is trying to tackle him and they're like rustling, that's when the scene becomes funny. So I just feel like without John C. Reilly, this movie is nowhere near as good.
Yeah, because he commits to the bit, man. And and also it's wholesome because he knows his friend and loves his friend, you know, all the things. So yeah, I agree with that. I think he really kind of brings it together in a lot of ways.
When you say psychosomatic, do you mean that he can start a fire with his brain? Because when you get in that, you get superpowers.
But that's what I mean. They're kind of making fun. They're making fun of the people who are in and around NASCAR. Like, let's be honest.
Let's call it what it is. Yeah.
But I do think it's funny because they, you know, we're talking about like Will Ferrell running around in his underwear and doing his very Will Ferrell-y moments in this. And that was like the crux of the pitch, though. That was like the crux of the pitch to the production company. They literally pitched this as Will Ferrell as a NASCAR driver. End scene. Like that's how they pitched it.
That's why I was tuned out of Ferrell at this point, because it was just, okay, he did this, and then it was Will Ferrell as a soccer coach, kids soccer coach, Will Ferrell on a basketball team. Like he did these movies in a 3-year span. So yeah, just not my cup of tea at that time. But it turns out, did you know that Will Ferrell was actually a huge athlete in high school? Like you would think he was like in theater or comedy or something.
No.
Apparently he was more of like a scholar and an athlete. He was a kicker on the football team, and to this day holds the record for most field goals at his high school. So it turns out he is kind of athletic, which explains why he's doing all these fucking sports movies. But yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe that's why he's in his underwear. Maybe he thinks he looks good.
He's like, listen, I have worked out.
Still got it.
I mean, that's fair. I think there are certain things about it that fit like the NASCAR vibe, the humor, the whatever that works for the time, for the setting. They do like say the R word again. Like why do we have 2 weeks in a row with the R word? I'm so over it. And I know it's a little bit of the time, I guess, but it's just like feels unnecessary to me.
To me, it was that's a product of the time of like it, not that it was okay, but at the time it was seen as okay that like you could use this for like a comedic effect. The one that gets me more on rewatch is like the amount of times they go to the like gay people are weird joke, and it's not as though they're saying it's bad. They're not making jokes at the expense of the gay community,
central,
but they're being like, oh, you're making us uncomfortable because this is weird and different from which again might be poking fun at NASCAR, but that's not how I read it. I just read it as like, this is low-hanging fruit. Let's have them be gay and it'll make all these like tough guys uncomfortable. It I don't know.
I think it is making fun of NASCAR, but I think it is also, here's a low-hanging fruit joke. I think it's both, and I didn't like it. And the only time it works is kind of later in the film, and we'll talk about it. But it's just like, it's not. They're such homophobes, and the homophobe comes through. Like you feel it. It's gross. And then there's a bunch of other things, transparently, like they're at the dinner table. The way that like the prayer scene is kind of funny. It goes on a little long, if you ask me, but like the prayer scene is a
ridiculously long scene.
Ridiculously long scene for like what it is and what you get out of it, but there's funny parts to it. The kids are monsters, but like literally I'm watching it and I was like, in my notes I was like, this grace, I swear it's never gonna end. And then I also was like, my other note was they're raising baby MAGAs. Like this is some like baby MAGA shit, and it was a gross scene, and it was whatever. I didn't like any of that, and I was like, okay, can we? I'm over these jokes.
I didn't mind the like different versions of Jesus and even the outtakes, which we'll talk about. Like I liked all those different, like I like to imagine Jesus. I thought that was pretty funny. And then I did like,
which is John C. Reilly again.
Yeah, I did like the one-liners that the kids are throwing at their grandpa.
Oh my
and
God,
whatnot.
yes.
I feel like the kids are really good in the parts where they're being mean.
Jacked up on Mountain Dew.
Chip. Like they just like they call him Chip instead of Grandpa. That in itself is very funny. But when they are forced near the back half of the movie to turn into like nice boys or whatever, and then they have to act nice, it's not as like their shit doesn't land. Their dialogue's not as funny. The kids can't pull that off. But when they're being dicks, it's actually pretty good.
It works better for sure. I do like where like it works for Jane Lynch's character later, but it doesn't. Yeah, you're right. Like their stuff doesn't land. It's great that she like shapes him up and all the things, but I will say I feel like I've been roasting it for 5 minutes straight. So I do want to call out some things that I did like.
Yeah.
I did like, and this was a rewatch thing for me, right? Like I said, if you had asked me a week ago, would I want to watch this movie or recommend this movie, I would have been absolutely not. So I was pleasantly surprised, I think, to see a couple things that I was like, oh, that's fun. I like that he was part of the crew. I like that he's on a NASCAR crew. Like you see him really young. You see his like affinity for cars that he wants to go fast. Like, and you see that origin story.
That entire origin story again, total Adam Sandler. I'm like, this is how Adam Sandler movies would start, of explaining how this character got to be this way. We're done.
Right. And it's ridiculous, but at least like his character, you know, ties to this origin story in a way. And he's like, I want to go fast. And like the fact that he can only say that is fucking dumb, but whatever. But then he's driving, like he finally gets to drive and he's like, oh, found my calling. This is the thing that I want to do. So he's on the shittiest team and he's not even the driver. He's the pit crew. And so like part of that is like a little respectable at the beginning, right? Of like, I just want to be here. I just want to be in the thick of it. I'm going to do the grunt work. I'm gonna be on the crew. I don't care.
He's also like that it's the sponsor is Laughing Clown malt liquor.
Yes. Laughing Clown.
I don't know why that got me as much as it did, but that was pretty funny that a car would have that sponsor.
But it was like, yeah, it was like the shittiest team, the shittiest sponsors, all thing. I just like that he was like, I want to do this because I just want to be around this, and I'm gonna do it in whatever form that I can. Because what I remembered about it was, God, he's just this like egomaniacal fucking NASCAR driver who thinks he's hot shit. And he does get into that, but he doesn't start that way. And so I do think that makes him, it's kind of that like, you know, you're in your roots kind of thing. And he comes back to his roots later. And that part of the story, that's a good story to tell. That's a good arc to tell. They just do it in a really cheesy way. But I did like that he starts on the crew. He gets this chance to drive and he's just like, I'm going fast. And he's in the car and he's just geeking. You know, I like that first drive where he's geeking out and he's like, I'm just thrilled to be here. That's the most wholesome moment to me. Yeah.
It ties in. And I love when John C. Reilly is pressed up against that like fabric, like the thing holding him in the window, that like fabric tied together straps and all that. And he's like, I'm in there with you and you're my best friend. And he's just like, we're taking a really long time to get me on the road, but he's just talking for like,
I feel like we're wasting time, but okay. Yeah. I love you too. You know, and he's like, I love you. But the homophobia comes through there again. It's like, I love you. What? Nothing, you know?
Yeah. Again, there's a point where you got to say it wasn't just a different time. It's bonkers that this is 19 years ago and we're still making that excuse. It just feels a little lazy. The payoff moments where I do think it kind of did get some sort of reaction out of me that wasn't negative was, for some reason, the moment when they say like, he takes care of these horses and the horses are also gay. I was like, we need more gay horse representation in Hollywood. Like, good for him, only, you know, taking in gay horses.
That whole sequence was funnier. Like that sequence of the backstory dogs, of that sequence was funny. And it made them the aftershock reaction to it was not like, to your point of like, God, why are you so uncomfortable? That part sucked, but the sequence itself was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was good. And then when he eventually is like, kiss me on the lips right now and I will go back. It's like, like, just give me a kiss on the lips, dude. Like, you want him to leave so bad, but like his little like challenges and one-upsmanship and like eventually they do kiss. Like, it's like, okay, I don't want to say their hearts were in the wrong place because it feels like they were trying to tell a point, but they did it in like a lazy way where it's not great. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was lazy the way they went about it. I think they're trying to like you said, make a statement, but I think there's a way to make that statement that maybe not in a comedy, to be fair, but there's a way to make that statement that's
Yeah.
not so like accepting of it. And I don't know how you do it in a comedy, I guess, but I didn't like it for sure. I did like all the sponsorship ad sequences, and to your point, there's some fun blooper reels about that later. And I like that
You
he
don't
like
shoot
speaks.
Big Red. Fuck you.
Fuck you. And I love that one because like I love Big Red. If y'all are curious, it's like I love that gum. It's great. And so I love that ad. And I also like that he does like an ad in Chinese and
Mm-hmm.
you know gives him some credibility there or whatever. And I like that in his prayer, you know, he shouts out Powerade and how delicious it is. And like there's just these sponsorships running
The
throughout, but I
literal Applebee's ad during the final
the literal
crash.
Applebee's.
It's like, I wonder how much they got paid from that. Like, that had to be a legit sponsorship, right? We'll give you a
It
20-second
really had
spot in the middle of our movie. Yeah.
it had to be, and like the whole scene in there as well, you know. And but it does like the scene where they you know end up racing later, and he drives in reverse and wins. And I mean, of course, the first thing I did was look it up, and I'm like, that can't count, right? Like you can't win in reverse. Apparently there's no explicit rule against it. So in theory, he could do it. I don't know. I'm not a huge NASCAR first person, but I did some quick research, and in theory, there's no rule against it. And I was like, there's no way he would have won. But
I
apparently
think
he
it's
did.
less about the rule and more about the fact that F1 has taught me, and Ford versus Ferrari has taught me, that a car going backwards will not go as fast as a car going frontwards. Like, that is the unbelievable part. But
Oh, it's true. It's true. It's not going to go as fast.
I wrote down to we've talked about some good stuff. I'll touch on one more good thing about this. The practical effects are actually pretty solid. There's a ton. They exaggerate the amount of car crashes in a NASCAR race for sure. Throughout there's crashes all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but the crashes are really well done and they're practical. And I feel like in 2006 they could have elected to make shitty CGI. I'm proud of them for not doing that.
Yeah, they could have made shitty CGI. They did exaggerate them, I think it's fair to say. Like, they didn't. Some of those roles go on. Like, you see the one that goes to
I
commercial
think
break.
that's
Not just the
intentional.
commercial break one, but like
Yeah.
some of the other ones where like the roles are made so much more dramatic and last
Yeah.
way longer than they actually are in real life. But yeah, they did do them practically. They also did practically film a lot of, not in the same way that F1 did where they were actually driving, but they filmed a lot of footage from NASCAR at Talladega. So it was, you know, I liked the authenticity of that for sure.
Yeah, that's kind of the last. I mean, some of the humor in this does. I want to like tell people that are still with us, because I think there's probably some fans of this movie that are pissed off right now. I'm not saying this is a bad film. If I had seen this in 2006, I probably would love it a lot more. It's one of those, hasn't aged as well. The humor has been done to death since then. So if I had seen it when it was new, I probably would like it more. But some of the humor in this lands, some of it doesn't. I just wrote down literally for 40 minutes of the movie, I only had a couple notes, and one was 10 minutes in, I'm already fucking sick of shake and bake. Like, why they kind of poke fun at it throughout, that they just keep harping on it, but the law of diminishing returns is a thing here. And then I wrote, the middle is just so meandering. I tuned out the entire, the hospital sequence is fun. Like, I liked that. I liked him playing wheelchair basketball when he wasn't actually in a wheelchair.
Yeah,
like
but it
the
goes
knife
on too
scene.
long. Same thing. It's just like they're really dragging it out. It's too
but
much.
Him recovering, the sequences of him training with his dad, like all that stuff is just like, dude, we know where this is going. Just move it the fuck along.
I have a whole chunk where I took no notes. To your point, I just and I was assembling. I told you this off mic. I was assembling a coffee table while I rewatched this, but I would stop and I would take notes. I assembled that thing in record fucking time, because during that crux, I didn't do shit. I took no notes and I was bored out of my mind. Like, I was just bored. I was like, this is not interesting. The kids getting shaped up is like kind of funny, cute, but you don't want to dig into it too much. Like, it didn't need to even go on as long as that did. And then the thing with him and his dad's retraining him, and the cougar was fucking stupid. I'm sorry. And
Also
just that
goes on for too long.
Goes on for too long. Like, it's a silly bit, and it doesn't need to go on forever. And they just really overdo it. And then you see, like, it feels like that's a third of the movie. is this like interim period where he's not doing shit, and that feels disproportionate to the rest of the movie. That's just all that
You
it is.
don't
It feels
even
like you don't
see
need.
really like Jean
Yeah,
Girard for that chunk of the
yeah,
movie. They don't really even do that many cutaways back to Cal. Like there's the one phone
yeah,
call, but for the most part, you're just with Ricky and his family, and it's the least interesting stretch of the film. I think
yeah.
between the hospital and the bar, I do like the bit where he's playing the NASCAR game and Luke crashes, and then John, he's like,
And
"How'd you
then
get in the video game so fast?" And then he's
yeah,
talking shit, and he's like, "Who are you, Ricky Bobby?" Like that joke is pretty good. And then Amy Adams comes in and shows us why she's got all these Oscar nominations with that
yeah.
crazy impassioned speech of hers. But
Yeah, she's great, and I think them coming back to being friends is like a poetic ending. It feels it feels poetic, but also simultaneously unrealistic. Like if you took my wife and my job and whatever, like we wouldn't be talking on the phone. But it's still kind of like it's still kind of cute. But I did like at the end, it kind of comes back. He has done the go back to my roots thing and figure out who I am thing, and that's why he's earned this coming back and having this showdown. And neither of them win. I do like that. I like that he doesn't win.
it's a
He wins
fun
ish.
way of getting Cal his first win, which you alluded
Right.
to earlier. That it's a creative way of getting us there.
Right. And I like that better than him like coming back from all this like you said, meandering to all of a sudden like in the out of the gate just win. I do think what's funny, and this is maybe just for me, I don't know, I'm maybe the only person who gave a fuck. I like that Gerard is driving and reading Camus, Albert Camus, The Stranger,
And he has this little
in the
like
original
teacup or like
French, and he
espresso
has
cup
his
too.
espresso cup, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Just mini spill my macchiato." But like, I like in that last raid, he's like reading Camus, and I was like, "Oh, what a nerd! I love it." And it's a very good book if you're ever interested. It's called The Stranger. But anyway, I liked it. I liked that part just for my nerd self. But other than that, at the end, it just kind of like
It
I don't
just
know,
kind of
wraps up, kind
fizzles.
of
Yeah,
fizzles.
it's
Yep.
fine.
The
I wrote
bloopers are the
down
best part about the ending. I feel like
the what? The outtakes?
the the bloopers, yeah,
Oh
the
yeah,
outtakes at the end
for
are the best
sure.
part.
Yeah, the that I laughed harder at that than I think I had anything prior to 40 like an
Yeah.
hour from that. I will say I laughed really hard. Underrated part of the movie, even though the villain doesn't really come into play. They try to I feel like 3 of the movies this month have done like the owner of the team is the bad guy, and they try to kind of do that. The son of the owner is kind of the villain, but he doesn't really play
Mm.
enough of a role for it to
He doesn't play
matter.
enough for it to really pay off. Yeah. Yeah.
But I will say, God damn, does Molly Shannon crush it in her 3 scenes as his
Oh,
wife.
yes.
And when she's drunk and like touching the man on the
And
face,
the
and she's like,
vibrating. She's like, when they get going. Yeah.
that, and like the like, oh, you smell good. Oh, and kisses him on the cheek. It's so awkward and absurd, but that's my style of humor. I thought that was hilarious.
She's so funny, but that's so Molly Shannon. Like that's like a tip. You're like Molly Shannon has made her appearance, and I do like that he kind of plays that shitty guy. But you're right, he doesn't get enough screen time for that to make sense. And also, the dad just like vanishes overnight. Like you get this throwaway line of like, "Dad's not around anymore," and it just, I don't know. You're not invested enough in that tendril of the story to like really give that much of a
I
shit.
don't
I
think they're
think
giving much thought in this script
no.
to like story as
No.
much. Speaking of Reese, another fun twist on the trope is I do like when he shows up at the racetrack and finally claims his 2 tickets just to turn around and sell them.
Sell
That's
them.
pretty clever. I'd never
It's
seen that
clever. It's
before.
fucked
Yeah.
up as fuck, but
Yeah.
yeah, it is. It is clever. But then he's like, to your point, it's like an 80, like there's these like 80s movies vibes here and there. It at the very end, the fingers through the fence where Reese is watching through him through the
Yeah.
race, and he's like, "Good on you, son." It's got that like John Hughes energy to it, for like a brief second.
Just they're emulating, yeah. There's probably
Yeah.
a specific reason why Days of Thunder is referenced. It's 80s
Yeah.
racing Tom Cruise. Like that's
Yeah.
probably very, very specific. I mean, I don't have much more, dude. I wrote down like fun fact. You mentioned how they had to get NASCAR's participation in this, and that they actually did do the 3 main characters' introductions at a NASCAR race. So they did this in
Mm.
2005 at the UAW Ford 500. They introduced the 3 main characters. They recorded the actual audience that was there. They didn't prompt them to react. And what happened was Ricky and Cal got cheered, and then they just introduced the audiences. This is a French F1 driver, and his sponsor's Perrier, and they booed the shit out of Sacha Baron Cohen without even knowing they were supposed to be booing. So that's all natural. We just hate French people in America, apparently.
Oh, we're so shitty. Yeah, checks out. I love it. Like, I wonder how many people are like, this is not F1. Fuck off. You know?
I mean, it's either the French thing, the Perrier thing, or the F1 thing. It's a dangerous combination, for sure.
Well, it's a very different energy. Like, a NASCAR fandom and an F1 fandom, as we have discussed, is wildly different. So, yeah, I don't know. Overall, like, I have nothing else. And I agree. The bloopers are the funny. Like, the end is very funny. The bloopers are really funny. I don't know if you stayed to the very, very end where they have like a literary discussion with the boys at the very end, where Jane Lynch is like, she's reading like a book to them at the end in bed, and it's I can't remember who the author is, but anyway, it's like she gives this little spiel, and he's like, yeah, that's very common of like post-war American literature, like giving this like little literary dissertation before bedtime. These two boys who have like turned all the way around, and I was like, that's the funniest thing I've seen in an hour. So yeah,
I found one. I can't confirm this. Somebody who has the DVD is going to have to let me know, but I found one little fact that said the audio commentary on the DVD is apparently just Adam McKay, Will Ferrell, and I assume John C. Reilly's there too, maybe Sacha Baron Cohen, but it's just them doing the commentary, but just making up improvising and making up fake facts about the movie. I feel like that might actually be funnier than the movie, is 2 hours of them just pretending to make up facts. That
just
I might
make shit up.
Yeah,
that feels like it would probably be better than this. Yeah.
It was, I mean, we could sit here, guys, and like I said, if you're a fan of this movie, there were, 10 to 12 other really funny quotes. I know everyone likes the wake up every morning, piss excellence, and you mentioned the Mountain Dew one earlier. There are some funny lines in here, but overall, the script just feels like kind of flat to me and lazy. They make 3 jokes about having an erection. Like, they just run back the erection joke 3 different times. We couldn't have thought of something else clever to say there. One wasn't enough. The
funniest line to me, well, not the funniest, but one of the funniest lines to me was like, where'd you learn to drive like that? When he first gets his first drive, and he goes, the car. And I was like,
when he's doing the interview?
Yeah. And
the
I was
interview
like,
is very funny when he can't
the
figure out what to do
interview
with
is
his
funny,
hands.
and like the hands, whatever. That part is funny. And the line about the car, and I'm like, there's nobody watching this with me, obviously. And I'm like looking around, I'm like, that's funny. Like, that part was funny.
When he's like basically whispering in the interview, but then he grabs the mic and is talking too loud, like that. Yeah. So there's plenty of funny stuff in here.
There's some funny lines, but
there's
it doesn't
not
all
a funny
together.
2-hour movie in this.
No, I agree with that. Okay, well, with that in mind, what would you say is your rating?
With the exact same caveat that I've said all episode of, I kind of wish I'd seen this in 2006. I would have liked it more. Now that I am almost 41 years old and watching it in full for the first time, it's fine. It was worth watching. I don't want to watch it again. I'll watch a funny clip if it pops up online.
You're never gonna like rewatch it though.
No, I would go like 6.5, I guess 6.
Oh man, you're nice.
I might be basing it on, I feel like I gave F1 like a 7, and that might be skewing my viewpoint.
This is a wildly different movie than F1.
I know, but like, I don't know why that's in my head so much, but just like, I'm going with recency bias of like what I've rated movies recently. If I'm being honest, like if I'm looking, I'd probably skew more towards 6. Yeah.
I'm an asshole, I guess. I'm giving it a 5. I'm also annoyed that I had to rewatch this. So this is something that I did not want to watch this at all. And that is, I will say that 5 is with the caveat of there are funny lines in here that I forgot about, or funny things about it that I was like, oh, it's not as bad as I thought. But I just don't think it comes together, and it's not my kind of humor to begin with, but there's like throwaway lines, but the whole thing, and it's actually weirdly feels long for one, a comedy movie, and 2, like that meandering middle section is just like, I didn't even need to watch that. There's a whole quarter of the movie, or a third even, that I'm like, I don't need to watch this. So I'm like, if I could tune out for a third of your movie, like, it's not that great, I don't think. So sorry guys, sorry if you love this. I know we offended some people. 100%.
I know you're about to say like, okay, guys, come back next week. They're not fucking coming back.
They're not coming back. They're so mad
you
at
just
us
trashed
right
my
now.
favorite movie. Oh.
Yeah, they're like, fuck off. Okay, well, we're sorry. We love you. Please come back. Anyway, speaking of, come back next week to join us for a whole new month of September, new theme. So we will be doing September satires.
And we're going to have to define what the fuck satire actually means, because it's...
Yeah.
What's satire? What's parody? We can get into it next week.
Yeah, so hopefully that jumps something into your mind when you hear that. But we're going to kick things off with something that maybe will help. The Truman Show, which I think is a good one.
It's a good one. Satire of Jim Carrey movies. I don't understand satire at all. I'm just...
So what he means by we'll get into it is I will explain it to you all next week. So come back and listen to us talk about the Truman Show. In the meantime,
follow us on our socials. We drink and we watch things on Instagram, TikTok, all those good things. You can also get the video of this podcast on YouTube or Spotify video. Make sure to give us a like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. We like activity. You can email us anytime at wedrinkandwewatchthingspod@gmail.com. So send your thoughts, reactions, suggestions, all that good stuff. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
React to my steak lovers hat, you guys. That's I do it for you. I do it for you guys. All right.
Everything I do, I do it for you.
Oh, that's such a good exit. All right. Thanks for joining us. For now, go have a drink and watch a thing. Cheers.
Cheers.